Hello beautiful people, you are welcome to Naho Blessed Fashion. In today's video we are going to be making this beautiful crop top with collar. As you can see, you can rock it with trousers, you can rock it with skirts. If this is your first time here, you are highly welcome. Please do well to join this family. All right, we have amazing tutorials. Subscribe and turn on your notification bell. Guys, register for our online beginners to intermediate class. It's going for a discount fee of just 15,000 naira, you guys. We are going to be starting from tape reading, taking accurate body measurements, all the way to corset and even fashion illustration. Don't miss this juicy offer, alright? Read the flyer for more details. I post it on the channel. To register, send a WhatsApp message to this number on your screen and I will see you in class. To start, I will be using a cotton fabric, okay? You can use Ankara, you can use any fabric of your choice. My fabric is folded into two. And I marked 2 inches for my buttons. This is the front piece. Come in by 2 inches and I create a straight line just like this. I'm going to get another piece of fabric. We're going to be cutting the front and the back piece together. So I'm going to place it on the line, on the 2 inches line I marked. I'm going to place it just like this. The fold end is on the 2 inches line, okay? So we're going to be cutting the front and the back piece together. The length I'll be using is 17.5 inches. The length I have here is 17.5 inches, as you can see. And the width I have is 17 inches. Plus the extra 2 inches is 19 inches, okay? That's what I have here. I'm going to mark, I'll come down by ½ inch, just so I can get sewing allowance at the shoulder later on, okay? So come down by ½ inch, and then from this ½ inch, it will be the shoulder line. I will start my measurement. I'm going to mark the neck width. I'm using 2.5 inches. I'm starting the measurement from the 2 inches line, okay? Make sure you start your measurement from the 2 inches line. Then 1 inch for the back neck depth and 2.5 inches for the front neck depth. If you're a plus size person, you can use 3 inches for your neck width and your neck depth, alright? So the neck width I'm using is 2.5, the neck depth of the front is 2.5, and the back is 1 inches. Next, I'm going to mark the length of the width of my top, okay? I'm going to be using 17 inches. Or you can just mark your shoulder measurements and then add your sleeve length, okay? So make sure you have the same thing at the down part as well. I'm going to come down by 1.5 inches for my shoulder slant and then connect it to the shoulder width just like this, the neck width. Next, I'll mark my bust measurement, my shoulder to bust, which is 10 inches, and then shoulder to the full length. You can use 17 inches, okay? I'm using 16.5 inches, including the folding allowance. I'm going to fold just ½ inches after weaving. Use your desired length, okay? So I have my bust and my waistline. Next, I'm going to mark my round bust measurement, divide by 4 and add extra 4 inches. That includes 1 inch of sewing allowance. If you don't want your shirt bigger, you can just add 2 inches and then your sewing allowance of 1 inch, which is 3 inches, okay? What I have at the bust line, I'm going to mark the same thing on the waistline as well. I'll connect them with a straight line just like this. I'm going to mark my sleeve opening. So here I will mark 9 inches. It's going to serve as the sleeve opening and I'll connect it like this to my body measurement. Okay? I'll go ahead and cut it out. I'll add ½ inch at the shoulder for my sewing allowance, and every other allowance has been added. I'll first cut the back neck just like this, and then for the front I am going to mark the same thing, the shoulder width 2.5 and the shoulder depth of 2.5 as well. Connect it just like this. Okay, so this is our front neck width and neck depth. I'll bring back the back piece and then cut the shoulder together. I'll cut open the center front and then notch the 2 inches for our buttons allowance. Okay, you want to notch it so that you have the same thing on the other side. I would like to give this place a little curve, so I just go up by 1 inch and then curve it to the waistline just like this. This is optional. Next, I'm going to fold the buttons allowance at the front. So to fold it, I will get my hemming gum. The hemming gum is 1 inch, so I'll just divide it into 2 just like this, and then I'll first fold the rough ends inward with ½ inch, then iron it down. You just want to gum the rough ends, okay? So fold it with ½ inch and gum it down with your iron. This is it. I'm going to get hasty. You can use paper stay, you can use hasty. This is 1 inch hasty, okay? I'm going to place the gum side is going to be facing my fabric, and it's going to be at the exact line of my 2 inches. Hope you get that, at the exact line of the 2 inches. And then I'm going to place the hemming gum on it again. The gumming part is facing the fabric and hemming gum is facing the outer part. And I'm going to fold the fabric all the way to the 2 inches we marked. Okay, you bring the end all the way to the 2 inches. This is what I have. I'll do the same thing to the second piece as well. Use my hemming gum, fold in ½ inch. Use my hasty and gum it down. And this is what we have. So we have created space for our buttons. Okay, this is how our button is going to be. It's going to overlap just like this. Okay, so you create a stitch. You can decide to stitch it down. I will do that. Stitch it down straight. What you fold, okay, just stitch it down to keep it in place. I'll bring the back piece. The back piece is on fold, remember. Right side facing the right side of the front piece. Right side of the back piece is facing the right side of the front piece, and I'll stitch them down together at the shoulders. Stitch them at the shoulder with 1/2 inch and at the side with 1 inch. That's the sewing allowance we added. So for the pocket, I cut my piece for pocket is 6.5 inches width and 6.5 inches length. I have two pieces of this. I later use only one actually, so you can use the two pockets. If you want two pockets, you can use one. Like me, I'm going to fold it with the same hemming gum. I'm going to fold the ends, so I'll just divide the hemming gum into two. Place it just like this and fold it with 1/2 inch. I'll do the same thing to all the sides. Place my hemming gum and gum it down. At any point you find this video helpful, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and drop a comment if you can. If you have any question, you drop it in the comment section. I'm going to answer you, okay? If you haven't subscribed to this channel, what are you waiting for? You don't want to miss the juicy tutorials that is coming up, alright? Make sure you subscribe and you turn on your notification bell. It's very, very important, so that once I drop a video, you see a notification and then you come watch. You can do the same thing to the upper part as well. You gum it down with 1/2 inch. You can just decide to just stitch it down whichever way you want it to be. If you want to see that stitch line, you stitch it down. So this is my top at the right side. I fold the down part with 1/2 inch like I said. I weave it down before folding it with my hemming gum. Okay, fold it by 1/2 inch using the same hemming gum. You can decide to stitch it, it's still fine. I did the same thing to the sleeves, but I fold the sleeve with 1 inch. Make sure you weave it before you fold, okay? So for the pockets, you can just decide to place them however you want them to be, okay? From the hemline, you can decide to come up by 3 inches and then you place your pockets just like this, and then let it be like 2 inches from the center, something like this, okay? 7 inches from, or you do 7 inches from the shoulder. You can place it just the way you want it to be. Go ahead and stitch it down. You top stitch very close to the ends. Top stitch and leave only the upper part open, okay? You can also place it just like this at the hem of the top. It's still going to be nice. Place it the way you want. I ended up using only one. So I am going to take the measurements of my neck. The round measurements of the neck I have on the top for our collar, okay? So I'll take the measurement. What I have, I'll divide it into two. So I have 18 inches. Divide by 2 is 9 inches. I'm going to mark 9 inches and divide it, further divide it by 2, which is 4.5 inches. And then at the 9 inches, I'll go up by 1 inch. Then connect it to the 4.5 inch just like this. Okay? After that, I'll mark 1 inch all the way to this end. 1 inch. From the 1 inch we come upwards, you're going to start marking 1 inch all the way to the end, just like this. I'll connect them. And what I have here, that's the 9 inches. I'll mark the same thing around here. I'll mark the same 9 inches here, just so I get a straight line. So I'll connect it down just like this. Next, I'll give this place a little curve. This is optional. I'm going to go in by 1/2 inch. From that curve I marked, I'll just go in by 1/2 inch. And then from that point, I'll mark 2.5 inch towards the line I marked, the 9 inches line. Mark 2.5 inch. We are going to cut the collar together, okay? And then from this end, I'll mark 2 inches. Mark 2 inches. And then connect it to the 2.5 inches on the other end. Make sure you blend this place so it doesn't look sharp. I'll go ahead and cut it out. So this is one side of our collar. We are going to cut it on our fabric on fold. That's why we divide our neck into two, because we are going to be cutting it on fold. So I'll cut it out on my fabric. My fabric is folded into two. The fold end is the center, okay? So you're going to fold the fabric into two. Make sure it's folded into two. Then you go ahead and cut it out. I'm leaving 1/2 inch sewing allowance all the way around except the fold end. I'm going to cut another piece. We need 2 pieces of that. One is going to serve as the lining. So I'll just place it and trace it out. This is what I have. When you open it up, this is what you're going to get. I will iron hasty on one of the piece. I've done that and I fold in 1/2 inch inward. Iron hasty and fold in 1/2 inch inward. This is the hasty. You should be familiar with this, right? Fold in 1/2 inch inward and gum it down. So one of them is not having hasty. You can hasty, both of them is fine. I'm using a cotton fabric, so it's thick enough. I'm going to stitch it down, round all the way like this. Stitch it down, and stop here. Okay? So I've done that. You stitch it all the way around, leaving just the down part. I will trim out the excess. You want to trim out the excess of this area very well so that when you turn it, you know it's a cut together collar. When you turn it, it will lay flat, okay? Trim the excess and notch. Make sure you notch it very, very well. Okay? I'll do the same thing to the other end. Trim out the excess. And notch, 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 notch. Very important. After that, I'm going to turn it to the right side. You can decide to notch this place as well. Turn it to the right side. I'll be using my scissors to push out the pointy end. Do the same thing to this side as well. And this is what you're going to have. Go ahead and give it a press. I'm going to iron it down. Make sure you push every end out before you iron it down. After ironing, this is what I have. I'm going to mark the allowance I have on the other side. Remember, we fold the allowance, the half-inch allowance on one end. So we are just going to mark. I'm just tracing it out just so I get the same, the same allowance, the same thing on both sides. I'll get the top and then notch the center of the top just like this. So you fold it into two like this to get the center, just so you can notch it. Notch it. You do the same thing to the collar as well. Notch the center of the collar. So I'm going to place it from the center. I'm just going to place it like this and pin it down. I'm pinning down just the side that we didn't fold, like we didn't hasty. That's the part I'm pinning down. Okay? Pin it from the center first before you do the side, so that every necessary adjustment you're going to do will be equal. Okay, so we'll pin it down. I like to pin it down just so I don't start losing anything after sewing. So when you pin it down, you'll be sure of what you're doing, right? And I'll stitch it down with the half-inch, following the exact half-inch I marked. If you notice your fabric is getting longer, you can decide to turn to the other end and continue. It's going to fit well. Okay, so I'll just turn it like this and then stitch it. So this is what I have. You're going to push the allowance inside, and then you have the fold end that we folded earlier, right? This end now we are going to just top stitch on it. You can pin it down to be sure of what you're doing before you start stitching. So we are just going to top stitch on it. Okay, so this is what we have. I'm just going to iron it down, and that's all. Thank you guys for watching. I love you all, and I will see you all in my next video. Please don't forget to subscribe and turn on your notification bell so you'll be the first to get notified whenever I upload a new video. Remain blessed. Bye.